Invincible Mumu. By Han Jung-Wheelia. Chapter 126. Poison Air of the West. Part 1. East River Sword Star, Shin Eui Jiam found himself lying on an infirmary bed, waking up for the first time after 2 days. His 2 disciples who were guarding the room called out to him when they saw him wake up. "Master! Master!" At their voices, Shin Eui Jiam looked at his disciples. Seeing the worry on their faces, he could tell how much they had suffered. They know of the defeat. Without that information, there was no reason why they would look like this. Shin Eui Jiam then sighed. "No one died, so why are you so gloomy?" "Clench." At his master's question, young Chizio answered with his anger bubbling from within, "Master, Master, is the right?" Young Chizio was unable to even say the words properly. Shin Eui Jiam then looked at him and said, "I know." "You know? Are you trembling in anger because I can no longer use my right hand?" Master. Your left arm is also broken, but your right arm has been crushed completely. Even the muscles are torn. A swordsman losing his arm, how can? Master. You've become a warrior to walk down a certain path. This is a fate that one has to accept eventually. Fate. No matter how much of a fight it was, he crossed a line. Didn't your master tell you over and over that those who have power over others have the right to harm their opponents in the end? That. Those who have died by my hands or are alive and crippled, there must be hundreds of them. But wasn't that due to them being part of the forces of evil? Chuzio. To kill someone, whether or not they're from an opposing side, means that you must be prepared to face the same. Master. Young Chizio went silent in the end. He was still angry but knew that his teacher was not wrong. Although this result was upsetting, the death or crippling of a warrior in battle was unavoidable. But I am angry. The youngest died, and even the master ended up like this. We are so helpless and unable to do anything. Young Gadong said this bitterly. His words made Shin Eui Jiam turn his gaze to the window. It wasn't Mumu's fault that this had happened. It was as if 17 years of karma had hit him again all at once. However, his heart was broken further as they could not get justice for the youngest disciple. Clench. Young Gadong clenched his fist. Master, even if I have to die by Mumu's hands, I will kill Kong Mui. No. If we make a promise, we need to keep it. If we can't even get revenge for our youngest, our master will lose face. Don't be in a hurry to get my name back. If you still have the energy to move like this, you should further refine your martial arts. Those words. No. I mean to forget revenge. Forget revenge? No matter the fact that you lost to him. Do you think it is just because of that? Didn't you say that if one is around the level of Master Haona, then victory or defeat can be changed at any time, depending on the situation? At that question, Shin Eui Jiam opened his senses wide and looked around the area. After confirming that there was no one around them, he whispered, "Listen carefully. Forget about your master's work here or Young Chun. This is already beyond the realm of humans." What is that supposed? Do you not know what this master is saying? I know. The fact that the child is strong according. It isn't like you think. He is truly invincible. I invincible? His 2 disciples could not hide their shock at Shin Eui Jiam's words. Many said that Shin Eui Jiam was the best. This man also always said that something truly invincible did not exist. To be invincible meant to be undefeatable by anyone. That is someone who shouldn't ever be touched. Never provoke him. Master, how can you say such? Chuzio. Carve these words into your heart. You can never provoke him. Are you saying that getting revenge for you or Young Chun should be forgotten? Don't. I am telling you that it isn't something that can be achieved with effort. Do you think humans can resist natural disasters just by working together? Is he a natural disaster? His power is like a natural disaster. His two disciples became silent at such a serious warning. Their master was one of the four great warriors and was known to be at the peak of Murim, yet he was afraid of a child? But these children knew nothing. Shinny Uijayam knew of Mumu's bloodline but chose not to tell them. The reason was simple. The moment they find out and try to stimulate him, a crisis could happen. Inside the office of the Deputy Headmaster of the Heavenly Martial Arts Academy, this is Deputy Dan Pilhu looked at the person in front of him with a puzzled face. The man, who was an aide, asked him, "Are there any problems, sir?" "Problems? It's only a problem if we think of it as one." Things were escalating. As Mumu's strength was revealed, things began to move in a strange direction. It was as if a small ball of snow had resulted in an avalanche. All of the attention of the Academy's staff is on him. "You are talking about Mumu?" "Yes. That is inevitable. Shinny Uijayam of the four great warriors was defeated by him. Wouldn't it be natural to draw attention? I have reached the level of exhaustion. Many students are also reportedly flocking to Mumu. It was said that they wanted to receive strength training classes from him. However, even the masters were interested in attending. The entire academic building was moving as if being swept away by a wave made by Mumu. It wasn't a small one, either. Is it going to become harder? Dan Pilhu clicked his tongue. He had been working hard to hide Mumu's power in the academy. It had been all for him, but now it was becoming more complex. This wasn't at a level that could be calmed down by just spreading a few new rumors. Mumu's victory over the East River Sword Star was known to everyone, and they were embracing it. Normally, the boy would have already lost all reason to stay in the academy. So, do we need to take any special measures? There was only one way to make Mumu stay even if people wanted him to leave. He didn't know if it would work yet or not. In the meantime, another spy came to deliver a report. Tack. The spy who had caught the pigeon checked the contents of the message around its ankle. It appears to be sent from the sect? The sect? After receiving the paper, Dan Pilhu opened it to check its contents. This. He jumped up from his chair, puzzling his aide. What is this? Gayong Jayong has come to the academy. Elder Gayong? Who? Gayong Jayong? The poison heir of the West? The aide could not help but be further puzzled when he found out who the new guest was. Phew. Did we have to come here? They were at a nearby garden by a special training center that had been locked down until recently. Moilwa asked in a whispering voice as Jin Hyuk nodded. It is because no one will see us. Moilwa, who heard this, looked at Mumu. What kind of trouble did you bring? Sorry. Mumu apologized by scratching his head. The reason they had to hide all the way here was simple. It was all because of Mumu. Moilwa was annoyed with him. Why did you have to go and say that about the strength training? It wasn't on purpose. I know it wasn't on purpose, but you should at least think. If a person who defeated the East River Sword Star and is being called the youngest great warrior says something like that, everyone will swarm to him. I didn't think it would be like this. Mumu was equally confused. The strength training was originally something for only the floor leaders of his dormitory. However, rumors of his victory spread, and several people came to him and asked him to join his class. And Mumu had readily agreed. Anyone who wants to train their muscles is welcome. That was the starting point. In just 2 days, a few had turned into hundreds. Even the academy masters were secretly visiting and inquiring about it. Phew. What are we going to do if you say that? Moilwa clicked her tongue. She had been shocked at first when she heard that Mumu had defeated one of the 4 great warriors. However, she knew that Mumu's strength was exceptional. Now that he had a name added to it, being with him was becoming difficult. Moilwa smiled as she said, "Let's move ahead. I will be walking around with Jin Hyuk, so from now on, you eat alone and listen to classes alone." Our skilled guardian Mumu is fine being alone, right? Don't bother. Why yes. Mumu replied dully, making Jin Hyuk sigh. He was no different from usual, but ever since he discovered Mumu's identity and victory over the East River Sword Star, it felt like his daily life was becoming twisted. What Miss Mo is saying is just a joke for now. However, it may just be a short time before he really gets pushed away from the academy. Mumu had come to stand shoulder to shoulder with the four great warriors. Who in this academy would teach such a person martial arts? Just being a normal student had already put Mumu at a level that the faculty found hard to deal with. Jin Hyuk then said, Mumu, you could be released from the academy. Released? Right. None of the masters here can teach you. Even if you want to learn martial arts, the masters know of your strength. Who would dare to teach a kid who had defeated the East River Sword Star? On the contrary, they might even refuse to teach him in class. For real? Don't you think it will be like that? If one thought about it carefully, Mumu's academic life might come to an end. It would be even quicker if his biological father was mentioned. Will I be kicked out? Mumu scratched his head as he wanted to stay longer. His original purpose, like his other brother and Jin Hyuk, was to find his parents and then make a name for himself. However, things had changed. His friends, something he never had during his exile, were important to him. A pity. If he was asked to leave, then there was no other way. If that is the case, should I ask Jin Sun-hyun to take me to the palace? If not, he would need to go and learn about his mother's existence in the White Valley. It was said that the location of his other siblings was known to the Heavenly Killing Valley. He was destined to leave this place one way or another. Mumu looked at his two friends. If he had to leave, he would have to part with them. And he then said, If I am Papa Pack. Before he could say anything else, someone appeared with a bang. It was a girl with navy blue hair and a dress that revealed one leg. An antique was in her hand. It was none other than the sophomore, Gyeong Sirin. Found you. Senior? Jin Hyuk looked at her in surprise as she approached Mumu with a smile. What are you doing, hiding here? Moilwa clicked her tongue at that question. No. Senior. How did you find us? She hadn't been part of the crowd wanting Mumu to teach them, but she had found them quickly. Gyeong Sirin then took out an unusual tool and showed it to her. What is that? It's something like a tracker. 1,000 miles chasing fragrance? Are you referring to the scent which can be discerned up to 10,000 li? Ah, you are smart. And you put it on Mumu? Right. Why? Moilwa couldn't understand it since that scent was used to capture only the most dangerous of enemies. Why would she use it on Mumu? Because I wished for him to be mine? In response to her question, Gyeong Sirin shrugged her shoulders and approached Mumu. As she folded her arms and smiled with her red lips, she then said, Would you like to date this Nuna? Chapter 127. Poison Air of the West. Part 2. Eugene Sung, royal inspector and older brother of Mumu and Jin Hyuk, had experienced many things in the few days he had been here. His original orders were to investigate the arson case and uncover the truth behind it. The culprit for that crime was rumored to still be inside the academy. However, due to several events, his mission had become meaningless. All of this could be attributed to Mumu. Unexpected things happen in this world. Because of Mumu's actions, the Imperial Palace could not get what it wanted. In the end, this was probably a good thing. Perhaps all of this happened because of the unknown variable called Mumu. How did my father raise Mumu? Jin Sung was more curious about this than his investigation. Apparently, his father had simply picked up an abandoned child and raised him. However, Mumu, who had never learned martial arts, managed to defeat one of the four great warriors. This news was something that shocked him once he heard it. However, as time passed, his understanding of Mumu remained vague. Does that child hold secrets that father doesn't know of? Or what is his body? Whatever it was, Jin Sung could only hope that Mumu's power was put to good use. This child was also his brother, after all. But Jin Sung was waiting for someone else now. There was no reason to just sit here and wait until all of the criminals behind the arson incident were caught. He had one last thing to do. Knock. Someone knocked on the door, prompting Jin Sung to get up and say, "Please come in." Clack. A girl who appeared to be around 19 appeared through the door. The girl who radiated a royal aura wore clothes with an unusual pattern. She was Cho Na-yeon, a third-year student ranked 5th in the academy. Ah. Cho Na-yeon walked inside, frowning once she saw Jin Hyuk in his government uniform. Jin Hyung then dropped to a knee to bow to her with his hands clasped together. "I, Jin Sung, would like to extend my greetings to Her Highness." Cho Na-yeon looked embarrassed. Her true identity was that of one who inherited the royal blood of the imperial palace. To her, Jin Sung relayed the order he had been given. His Majesty has urged the princess to return to the imperial palace. He said he will not accept any objections. The warriors guarding the gates of the academy looked nervous. An old man and woman in bamboo hats were in front of them, their identities clear with just a glance. It was Gyeong Jian and his daughter-in-law, Jin Hyang. What is this? It's only been a few days, and another one of the 4 great warriors is here. They just wanted the academy to stay peaceful and quiet, so what was all this? Ignoring their reaction, the old man and woman simply looked around. As they entered the gates, they couldn't hide their wonder at how things seemed to have unfolded contrary to their expectations. Seeing the condition inside, Gyeong Jian said to Jin Hyang, "It seems like Shin isn't here." "I think the same. It doesn't look like we are late." "Father. That is a good thing. Imagine if we were late and our children became involved." I see. Your thoughts are right." "Right." Gyeong Jian nodded and clicked his tongue. He had never won an argument against his daughter-in-law. Good luck is what this is. The deputy headmaster's people set off in a hurry to deliver their report. This was an urgent situation for the academy. It was said that the East River Sword Star could not be calmed without the South Blade of the Emperor. Gyeong Jian had worried about his grandchildren and had hurried to the academy. Fortunately, things didn't seem like they had gone badly. Isn't it natural that Shin is being cautious? His daughter-in-law had felt concerned that something terrible would happen if Shin Eui failed to control his anger. However, what they had feared did not come to pass. On the contrary, the North Heavenly Fist had allowed them to head to the academy as he was the elder. Gyeong Jian had made his way here hastily as he felt like his world would crumble if his grandchildren were in danger. Still, he was glad to arrive early. No matter what happened, he could at least protect his grandchildren. It is good. If things hadn't started yet, there was no need to cross-check. Gyeong Jian then said to Jin Hyang, "Kid. The old man should see the children first before I check anything." Even if things didn't happen as we feared, we came to the building, so the headmaster. "You can go ahead and say hello. The old man has to hurry up and go see the kids." Pat. As soon as his words were finished, Gyeong Jian quickly looked away and left to avoid being caught by his daughter-in-law. She could only click her tongue as her father-in-law disappeared. Well, he does have a fiery temperature. They had been traveling together for 20 years, but the man never changed. The guard then asked Jin Hyang, who was shaking her head. Where are you going? Where is Guardian Gyeong headed?" You heard right. He went to see his grandchildren. It is hard for me to completely control him. I will meet the headmaster instead to apologize." At her words, the guards couldn't help but feel embarrassed. They had come here so suddenly, but one abruptly left while the other asked to meet the headmaster. Guardian Shin is one thing, but these people are too. One of the guards mumbled, catching Jin Hyang's ear. His words caused her to frown as she asked, "Wait. Did you just say Guardian Shin?" How did she hear that? The guard was shocked. It was known that any daughter-in-law of the Guyong family couldn't be normal, but to hear such a faint mumble. The guard then spoke in shock. That is. I was referring to the arrival of the East River Sword Star to the Academy. What? He already came here? Then why didn't you say that? Of course, there was no need to talk about that to her. She looked bewildered and then asked. Is it possible that the punishment happened before we came? What do you mean by punishment? Uncle, no, Guardian Shin didn't touch the girl, right? No. It all worked out. Worked out? Jean Hyang couldn't hide her curiosity. Contrary to her concerns, things had worked out better than she expected, considering the peaceful state of the academy. The guard then said, Did you not hear? What did I not hear? The guards became hesitant about telling her the news. It seemed that both of their two guests had yet to hear of the news. Honestly, he wasn't sure if this should be spoken about outside the academy's premises. After some hesitation, the guard spoke. It's nothing much, but the East River Sword Star had dueled against a student of the academy and lost. Jean Hyang's eyes widened in surprise. What did this mean? She doubted her ears. Shinny Uijayam had been defeated by a student? Are you joking with me? Would we ever do that? If it is an academy student, you mean one from here, right? Yes. Such a child dueled against Shinny Uijayam and won? Was the spar done without using internal energy? No, they fought with full strength, and an entire square was utterly destroyed. That I cannot believe. What you are saying? We are telling the truth. He suffered serious injuries and is now in the infirmary receiving treatment. Jean Hyang became confused at this. If this was a joke, then it was outrageous. A student who hadn't even graduated from the academy dueled against the East River Sword Star and defeated him? Could this be true? Where's the infirmary he is in? Only seeing him in person would make her believe it. Guyong Jian used his footwork to move so quickly that none could see his movement. He moved to the dorms, excited at seeing his grandchildren for the first time in a year. The academy being large was something he already knew. Even though he was using all his speed to reach it, he still hadn't reached the West Wind dormitory. I am trying to attach a title for the dorms, please give me permission for it. The titles? Hee. Our titles. Really? That is so strange. As he thought about the West Wind dormitory, he recalled the conversation he had with the South Blade of the Emperor. He said he wanted to create an academy that fostered the next generation of warriors. He also told them that he wanted to use the titles they had been given to commemorate their achievements. Everyone had commented that it was odd, but none objected. When those who had graduated from the academy met with him outside, he thought it was great that the others didn't refuse that proposal. Hee. It just feels like yesterday, but the years are so fleeting. Guyong Jiang recalled the old memories as he arrived near the West Wind dormitory. As he reached it, he took something out of his arms and checked it. It was a tracking device used for the 1,000 miles chasing fragrance. Let's see. Usually, a scent would disappear anywhere within a month to 3 months. However, he could see the trace because he had used slightly less than the portion that would poison a person. Despite it having faded a lot, he could still discern it within 10 miles and if anyone within 10 miles had that scent, he could find them. Let's see. Where are my grandkids? Following the directions of the tracker, Guyong Jian went off to find his grandchildren. And soon found you. He found his beloved granddaughter, Guyong Siren. After just a few months, she had grown to look like a dazzling flower, making him smile. Even though she was his granddaughter, she had grown quite pretty. My child. There were already 2 boys around her. This may be why he felt like he cherished his granddaughter too much. In his heart, he wanted her to spend the rest of his life with him and not let her get married. Who would he even give his beautiful granddaughter to? If this old man finds someone who matches well with you, you can get married. Until then, don't meet with any bastards. Baeong Jaein tried to reveal himself to her, but her location disappeared along the path. With the help of the tracker, he went toward her. What the hell was she doing? Baeong Jaein was puzzled as he watched her look at her own tracker. Baeong Jaein frowned as he felt something ominous. He wasn't sure what she was trying to do, but the fact that she was using something like that within the academy bothered him. Let's follow her. He hoped that his guess was wrong. And so, he quietly followed her as she found 3 other students hiding in a rare place. Could it be that she used the tracker to find these children? He decided to continue to wait and watch. But... what? Baeong Jaein's eyes widened as his ears reddened. You said you would be with me? Baeong Jaein grabbed his chest as he looked at his granddaughter with fiery eyes. How could the granddaughter he cherished so much act so aggressively to a boy? What he had feared was happening. Who was it between the two? There were 2 male students. One looked like a playboy, while the other looked like a kind and fine boy. If you want to choose the second one. A man who had looks was of no use. Besides, even from afar, the boy with playboy vibes didn't feel stronger than a second-rate warrior. The good-looking one at least seemed pretty good. He looked young, but his internal energy's foundation was solid. He appeared to be a child of a well-known warrior or a member of a famous sect. He wasn't sure who raised this child, but it was fine if his granddaughter liked him. He wouldn't mind since the boy had talent that would grow further in just a few years. It isn't like I don't have eyes. But still, someone is out there trying, no. At that moment, Baeong Jaein's eyes widened. His granddaughter has linked arms with the playboy. And said something even more shocking. Would you like to date this Nuna? Ugh. Baeong Jaein became pale. He hoped that it wasn't that boy. He didn't understand what his granddaughter saw in him. It was said that true value lies in the innocence and character of a warrior. Did this mean she just liked his face? Yuck. Baeong Jaein grabbed his chest. He wanted to know how the boy would react. Judging by his youthful face and the fact that Siren had called herself Nuna, the boy seemed younger. As if she wanted to kill her grandfather, she locked his arms against her body. It didn't sit well with him. It's been a long time since he met his granddaughter. Seeing her like this confused him. Baeong Jaein stared at the boy, who was still silent. Right, calm down. There has to be something to like in that child. My Siren flirting is what hurts me more. Baeong Jaein calmed his breathing and looked at them intently. He wasn't sure who the boy was, but he was lucky. His granddaughter was actively speaking out. If you don't have a girl you like, date me. Siren said again. No, this was a bit too aggressive, even if a woman should be confident. Saying it once was enough. Why say it twice? Baeong Jaein looked at his granddaughter with a frustrated look. Ugh. If my granddaughter confessed, you should bow down and say thank you. Why is he looking like that? Date? Yes. Why? Because I like you. Is that so? But I don't have any feelings for Senior. The words that came out of the boy's mouth were an unexpectedly clear refusal. For a moment, Baeong Siren looked disappointed. This guy. Baeong Jaein, who was watching this, couldn't stand it anymore. Pat. He jumped from the top of the tree, flew towards the boy who had rejected his sweet child, and grabbed him by the collar to lift him up. How dare you embarrass my granddaughter? The boy, no, Mumu, suddenly felt defenseless as an old man suddenly appeared and pushed him violently into a tree. JJJKK. Mumu collapsed as he collided against a large tree. Moilwa and Jin Hyuk, surprised at the man's sudden appearance, widened the distance between them and became alert. As this happened, Siren called out to Baeong Jaein. Grandpa. My granddaughter. How have you been? Only after hearing this did they understand who this person was. West Wind Poison Kick? One of the 4 great warriors? The only person that this woman could call grandpa was that man alone. Siren, surprised by his appearance, then said, "Grandpa, what is this?" "That is what I want to say. What is wrong with you, begging for a bastard like that?" Gyeong Giant frowned as Siren shouted at him. "Where can I even find such a man?" At her words, Gyeong Giant pounded at his chest with his fists. "Oh my. No matter how much you want to stick around with a nice-faced guy, he is lacking so. What are you talking about, the man who is strong enough to defeat Uncle Shin?" "Defeat Shin what?" Gyeong Giant tilted his head for a moment. There was only one person she would call Uncle Shin. Shin Eui Jiam, and he was defeated? What are you saying now? Are you sure that the Uncle Shin you are talking about is the Shin I know? Yes. The same man. Are you joking with this old man now? How can a little kid who is less than a second-rate warrior stand shoulder to shoulder with the flinch? At that moment, Gyeong Jiang turned his head toward where Mumu had been thrown. Crack. There, Mumu was casually getting up and loosening his neck. Chapter 128. Poison Air of the West. Part 3. Gyeong Giant's daughter-in-law, Jin Hyang, arrived at the infirmary. She was speechless upon seeing Shin Eui Jiam with his body covered in wounds. She was hoping that the news had been wrong. But he really had suffered the worst possible injuries. "Mrs. Jean. Brother, what is this?" "Huh?" At her question, Shin Eui Jiam could only sigh. This had to be the worst day. It hadn't been long since his defeat, and the presence of Gyeong Giant's daughter-in-law only made him feel ashamed. "You people, get out." "Yes." At their master's order, the two disciples exited the room. As they left, he looked towards her, who then asked, "Is this real?" "I don't know what you heard, but if it is about my defeat, it is true." "How is that possible?" "It is impossible for this man who stands equal to father to be defeated by an academy student." Even though the word defeat was mentioned, it was still hard to believe. Shin Eui Jiam then asked her, "Here to see the kids?" Jin Hyang answered honestly. "It was partially for that, but it was more to see you." "To see me?" "Yes." "Is it because of Huang Suk's daughter?" "Yes. We came here worried that two of the four with a good relationship would end up causing chaos here. We thought the children would also be at risk if something more happened." "I have no face to show." "No. We have no idea what happened here, but we are lucky that something horrible didn't happen." "We? Did your husband also come?" "No. Father-in-law is here." Shin Eui Jiam's eyes widened. Jin Hyang looked shocked at the man's reaction. "What is it? You mean you came here with Elder Gyeong?" "Yes." "Where is he now?" "Father said he wanted to meet the children first, so he went towards the dorms. He didn't come here as he hadn't heard about you yet, so please don't." "Dorms, no." Shin Eui Jiam tried to get up but then clutched his chest with his hand. "Ugh. Brother? What is it?" "Mrs. Jean. Please take the elder away from there now." "You mean father?" "Yes. He cannot meet him." "Him? It is bad if he meets Mumu." "Mumu? The child who defeated me. That child's name is Mumu? But father-in-law knows nothing about him and has no reason to meet that child." At her words, Shin Eui Jiam bit his lip. There is a huge grudge. If the old man ended up injured now, his plan for the other three to defeat Mumu would be useless. He had to send that old man away from the academy right now. Crack. Mumu stood up as he casually loosened his stiff neck muscles. Gyeong Giant narrowed his eyes at this sight. Look at him. Even though the tree was destroyed, he didn't seem to have suffered any internal injuries or seem like he might faint from the pain. A mere second-rate warrior couldn't survive such an attack. He was further puzzled as he looked at Mumu's exposed muscles. This guy is much more developed compared to most warriors. He didn't notice it from a distance as he had only taken a single glance. However, up close, the boy had amazing muscles. Gayong Siren ran up to Mumu with worry and asked, "Are you fine? You aren't hurt because of my grandfather, right?" Mumu shook his head. "No. I am fine." He had been thrown by Gayong Jian, but it didn't matter. It wasn't because of his body's strength or anything, but it was because the shock of the impact had strangely been directed at the tree. This was the reason why martial arts were so mysterious. Unlike Mumu, Gayong Jian could feel his face reddening. What is this child? Would he even injure a child just because he was in a bad mood? However, his granddaughter had other desires behind her request to take a proper look. Do not get too close. Don't you know the saying that men and women are different in all ways? Grandpa, you're the one who told me to not get caught up in such sentiments. When did I ever tell you to do that? You definitely did. Gayong Jian grabbed the back of his neck at her words. He had cherished his granddaughter and perhaps favored her more than the others. However, he wasn't the type who could hold back his emotions as he felt his anger continue to grow. Shoo! Gayong Jian held out a hand and made a pulling mention, which forced Siren's body to move. Dung. It was a martial arts technique where one used internal energy to grab something from afar. Siren felt her body lifted against her will as she was dragged over. What is this? If you continue to act arrogant, I will take you back from the academy or whatever. Are you talking about taking me back home? Right. Isn't that too much? Are you saying that your words about having me meet a sufficient man with qualifications were a lie? Oh my. Gayong Jian touched his throbbing forehead. For his beloved grandchild to act like this. Most people in Murim would tremble or crawl at his name, but these kids weren't afraid at all. Are you really saying that about him? No tree won't fall after being hit 10 times. There is no other man like him. Huh. Gayong Jian sighed and turned to Mumu. No man like him? That is why you have been telling me such lies. You wanted him to be recognized by me? They aren't lies. What is not a lie? Who would believe it when you tell me that, Shin? If you don't believe it, grandfather can experience it. What? Gayong Jian thought that all of this was just absurd. He was a senior warrior by a large margin, not to mention he was also a hero of Murim. Wasn't this implying that this boy stood on equal ground to him instead of just a simple test of strength? No more. He couldn't let this continue any longer. Gayong Jian then looked at Mumu and said, "This old man's granddaughter is saying so much. So I will ask you directly instead." As the child said, "Did you fight with the East River Sword Star?" Mumu scratched his head as he answered. "Yes. But... what?" Gayong Jian frowned. Was this child just playing along with Siren? This child fought with Shini Uijayam? You mean you fought him and won? Yes. Is there a problem? Huh. Gayong Jian was shocked. Mumu had a unique muscular body that exuded a sense of strength, but there was no way he could have dealt with Shini Uijayam. This child would have died with just a snap of Shini Uijayam's fingers. TCH. Gayong Jian clicked his tongue and reached for Mumu. Fine. If you're good-looking and decent, we can test whether or not you have the qualifications to be that child's lover. There will be no such thing as being cautious. Come here. Shoo. Gayong Jian pulled Mumu using the same technique he used on Siren. Quack. Mumu planted his feet and stood tall. This guy? He can handle this? Even his granddaughter, who was stronger than her peers, had been unable to resist him. Then he isn't just a normal guy? Then... Goo. Gayong Jian's black robes fluttered as he increased the amount of energy in his move. Quack. Mumu's body then began to be pulled, even with both feet stuck in the ground. Feeling this, Mumu raised his hand towards the band on his left arm. Please refrain from taking off the band until you can control it yourself. I should finish it as soon as possible. Gayong Jian radiated a bright light almost equal to Shini Uijayam. It seemed like it would be challenging to deal with this man without turning the dial. Keek. The dial began to turn. 10, 9, 8, and eventually to 1. Crack. Mumu's whole body began to shake as his muscles turned black. With that, something akin to vapor came out of his skin. At the sight of this, Gyeong Jian stiffened. What is this? The boy had changed all of a sudden. A sense of intimidation from Mumu began to wash over the area. This change in his body wasn't something to be taken lightly. At that moment, Mumu raised his hand and slammed it into the ground. Kwang! The ground rose up like a wave with a tremendous roar. This. Pack. Gyeong Jian pushed his granddaughter, Siren, back while swinging toward the pile of sand that was coming crashing down. Denim Septor third form. Papak. A strong wind appeared from the cane he held to overturn the oncoming wave. Gyeong Jian, who had managed to block, had completely changed his expression. This boy wasn't normal. SRR. As he moved his cane slightly, a pile of dust formed in front of him. The wind and the dust swaying in it sank back in an instant. Thud. He heard the sound of something falling. When he looked, he noticed it was Mumu's golden band. Is that all right? Take it easy and stay away for a while. It was none other than Moilwa who had taken it off Mumu's wrist. Mumu had bought some time by obscuring the vision with dirt to run towards her earlier. Crack. Mumu's body changed once more. His darkened skin returned back to normal as his muscles became denser. But the true change was creepy. Gyeong Jian's expression hardened. The sense of intimidation coming from Mumu was even stronger than before. It almost felt like they were standing in the boy's domain. This is? Even Gyeong Siren trembled as this was the first time she had seen him like this. She only knew the result of the fight between Mumu and Shinny Uijayam. From that, she could make a guess about his level, but this felt even beyond that. Grandpa. Despite her call, the man didn't respond. All of his concentration was on Mumu. He was in a state of absolute vigilance that he didn't even hear his lovely granddaughter's voice. Is Grandpa that nervous? This was her first time seeing this. It was surprising to see him like this. This was at the level of accepting that the person on the other side was at the same level as he was. Mumu then took a step forward and said, "Since I don't have time, let's end this fast." At Mumu's words, Gyeong Jian frowned. While he felt slightly stiff from the sense of intimidation, he was still stronger. And the boy wanted to end the fight quickly? He's a bit too confident. Gyeong Jian's eyes turned bitter. He didn't have to hesitate any longer if he was this strong. I will teach you the fear of poison. Poison heir of the West. He was called the most dangerous person in Murim and had the ability to kill an entire sect with just a little poison. Of course, using such wide-reaching poisons in the academy was impossible. However, since he was a poison expert, he was sure to manage something. The fact that this man used poison was something that Mumu could never be careless against. If it wasn't for this skill, the incident 17 years ago wouldn't have been possible. Gyeong Jian took aim at Mumu. Goo! A strong and poisonous energy emanated from the old man. With control over poison that was more complete than any other, he was able to manipulate it using his invisible chi. Even the other three are afraid of this old man. You will not be an exception. Let's see how you do it. Gyeong Jian stretched out his cane to Mumu. Purple poison exited the snakehead figure from the top of his cane and moved towards Mumu. Swish. And it was at that moment. Yum. Mumu took a deep breath that caused the muscles in his rib cage to enlarge. His pectoral muscles were also swelling up. Fuel. Pong. A strong wind, close to a gust, exited Mumu's mouth and blocked the poison heading towards him. What was more impressive was JJKKK. Gyeong Jian's poison began to freeze up from Mumu's breath. No. For a moment, Gyeong Jian doubted his eyes. Chapter 129. Poison Air of the West. Part 4. JJKKK. The poison became tangible as it was frozen by Mumu's breath. What is this? Gyeong thought for a moment at the absurdity of this. Occasionally, among the warriors, people could use their mouths to release internal energy. However, what Mumu was doing now was completely different. What came from his mouth was just a simple gust of wind, not air filled with internal energy. Yet the wind pressure was so intense that it could freeze the wind. No way. He had lived in the Murim for decades, but this was the first time he had encountered this. No, this was utter nonsense. Cha-cha-cha. The frozen poison had turned into purple ice and fell to the ground. In the end, he couldn't use the poison anymore. Mumu also stopped blowing the wind. Phew. Mumu's muscles, which had swelled up around his rib cage, slowly began to relax. Even after doing such a terrifying thing, his face still had an innocent expression. This guy is really not human. Cold sweat formed on Gyeong's forehead. Was this the same anxiousness that he had felt 17 years ago? The four of them had to suffer a life and death situation when dealing with that person. But it felt different now. I thought that there would be no more monsters after him. Despite this not even being a proper fight, his instincts were screaming at him. He realized that the monster in front of him was someone he couldn't fathom, which filled his head with complicated thoughts. I have a lot to lose. He immediately elevated Mumu into the realm of a formidable opponent. His honor would collapse if he lost this fight here, especially to this child. Would it be better to stop here, then? As one became older, one could determine when to attack and when to retreat. If he had been a little younger, he might have rushed towards Mumu, but not anymore. Grandpa. His ear was filled with the voice of his granddaughter, Gyeong Sirin. Gyeong couldn't bear the nervousness in her voice and looked at her. She had worry shining in those beautiful eyes. The child he cared for was now caring for him. Seeing this, he clicked his tongue. Gyeong, you stupid jerk. You wanted to show your grandchild how a man who doesn't have much life left to live will step down as a warrior to enjoy some glory? For a moment, he thought that his actions were absurd. Rational judgment wasn't always the answer. No matter how strong the enemy he faced was, he had to be a grandfather that she could be proud of. That's right. Gyeong's expression changed. If the opponent was a monster, victory or defeat was not something he could guess before the fight even began. It was a world where even the smallest variable could tilt the odds. Let's do it. It's quite amusing that he said that he would simply check the strength of this boy to judge his worthiness as his granddaughter's lover, but instead was now about to go all out. Gyeong calmed himself and adjusted his body. His desire to fight began to grow as he further calculated the variables. From what I can sense, he is just a second-rate warrior. That means that only his physical capabilities are beyond the level of a human. If so, he had to take a different approach. His method of fighting that tested the opponent's skill by using poison wouldn't work. If his attack was blocked again, it would only be a waste of internal energy. That would be to his disadvantage when close combat became a reality. Even if he is a monster, the situation can be changed as long as the poison spreads in his body. To do that, he had to close the distance with Mumu. That was the key to victory. With that conclusion, Gyeong drew up the poison chi from within his body. Goo. At that moment, his indigo hair and beard became purple. With that, purple energy spread through his body. SSS. The purple energy spread through his body. Everything it touched was corroded. This was something that happened when poison chi was released to the 10th level. 10,000 poison body. Seeing this in front of her, Gyeong Sirin exclaimed in surprise. Her grandfather was a man who had many poisons in his body. His physique was something called the heavenly body that was further improved by his perfect practice of poison. They were witnessing the moment he decided to actually use that form. At that time, Gyeong shouted, "Let's do this properly. Pat." With those words, he moved forward. Shoo! Gyeong Jyeon's body vanished, leaving behind only an afterimage. Among everyone present, only Mumu was able to have a clear idea of the man's position. He had clear visibility of the man's movement. He directed his gaze from the side to the back and then to the front. Hack! Hack! The poison heir of the West, Gyeong Jyeon, was a man skilled in two martial forms. The first was the form of the Poison Emperor, and the other was the form of the Wind God. He was called the Wind God as he was known to be the swiftest of the four great warriors. Gyeong Jyeon was determined to make full use of his footwork for this fight. Even faster. Shoo! If he moved even faster, afterimages would be the only things anyone could see, and he would be functionally invisible. Shh. Great warrior Gyeong has increased his speed? Moilwa's eyes couldn't even comprehend this. All she saw were 20 afterimages. It was almost as if he was the emperor of movement. Gyeong Siren also felt a thrill run through her body at this sight. Sensible wind kick technique, 8th form of the horizontal motion. The sensible wind kick technique consisted of 10 forms. Among them, only 7 could be used by the Gyeong family. From the 8th form onwards, they were secret techniques that only Gyeong Jyeon could use. Swish! Gyeong Jyeon's body, which had left behind 20 afterimages with his movement, rushed towards Mumu immediately. Mumu's eyes fluttered slightly as he saw the afterimages rush toward him. It wasn't only due to shock. Gyeong Jyeon was not visible in the eyes of the others, but that wasn't the case for Mumu. Kwang! The ground rose as Mumu moved. The place that Mumu aimed for was towards the west. Did he? Gyeong Jyeon frowned. He had tried to distract Mumu, but the child could still pinpoint where he was. This child was undoubtedly a monster. Even the other 4 great warriors couldn't accurately determine his position unless he got too close. Shoo! Mumu rushed towards Gyeong Jyeon with his arm outstretched. His middle finger and thumb were locked together. A flick? Was the child trying to do a flick right now? This shocked Gyeong Jyeon for a moment. But he had the confidence to be able to break through this attack. Mumu then began to snap his fingers. Flinch! In an instant, Gyeong Jyeon gave up on trying to reach Mumu and hurriedly turned around. The wind pressure at that moment felt so fierce on his skin that his face flushed and his lips stiffened. Pong! Quack quack wang! Gyeong Jyeon looked back and squinted his eyes in shock. Mumu had only flicked the air, but the ground below had been split by the force, and holes were formed in the trees. What strength! This felt like a scam. This had happened with just a snap of his fingers? But there was no time to stay shocked. Now was his only chance. Mumu's speed was unusual, but the speed of his reaction was even more insane. Shoo! Mumu was trying to loosen the hand he had used to flick. Pat! Gyeong Jyeon kicked the ground and moved towards Mumu. Hack! Mumu kicked his feet and used the ground to launch himself towards Gyeong Jyeon. Swish! Mumu's kick had created pressure that made the ground explode around him. Quack! Papak! However, Gyeong Jyeon turned with all his might at that moment and gathered poison chi towards Mumu's chest. Deadly Poison Scepter, 9th form. Pong! He struck out his hand towards Mumu's chest. Since he had utilized the 10,000 poison body at full force, it could be said that his power output was enough to even pierce through a small mountain. Done. Mumu's body would bounce back, and the poison would spread. Pong! Hook! At that moment, Gyeong Jyeon felt his body bounce back as if launched from a cannon. Oh? He was the one who had struck the child, so why was he being thrown back? Quack quack wang! Quack! Gyeong Jyeon could barely stop his body from being planted into the ground. This wasn't what should have happened. Not only the ground but even the clothes on his back were ripped. He was protecting his body with poison chi, so he could withstand it to some extent. And monster! Gyeong Jyeon, who staggered to get up, couldn't believe it. This child could still blow him away even if he used his deadliest trick. It was no exaggeration to say that this child's body was like a diamond body. However, the risk he had taken seemed to be worth it. Jiang smiled. The scary thing about my technique comes after it lands. The poison from his attack would soon penetrate Mumu's body. Once it touched just one part of his body, it would spread around quite soon. Like now, for example. Shoo! Purple-colored veins began to spread from Mumu's chest. As his body heat increased, the poison would spread through his body. If the foe was one of the 4 great warriors, they could have fought off the poison using internal energy, but this child could not. The result is inevitable when you do not have internal energy. In a way, this victory could be called a lucky win. There could not be a true best in the world because everyone was meant to have an enemy. Mumu could not drive out the poison unless he could use internal energy. This is a victory I achieved by holding out the longest. A valuable victory that had been attained even though it meant he was hurt. Jiang staggered up and walked towards Mumu. It was as if he was about to lecture Mumu about the defeat. Phew. Still, it was the first time someone had pushed himself this far. Even Xiran looked shocked. If he had such skills and could augment them with internal energy, he would soon surpass even the 4 great warriors. That kid's value has increased tenfold. It seemed like everyone had to admit it. He thought he would regret it if he missed the chance to make this boy his granddaughter's husband. This would also save his face in moderation. He moved to drain the poison and restore things to normal so that he could also get along with his granddaughter. Step. Jiang walked towards Mumu. How is it? Understand what poison? Clench. For a moment, he stopped as he watched Mumu, who still had poison spreading around his body. The muscles around the boy's body were moving. No, the appearance was so bizarre that it was difficult to comprehend. What the hell? At that moment, Jiang's eyes fluttered in shock. Mumu's body, full of muscles, began to change. The poison chi that had started to spread in a purple color began slowly diminishing in volume from his chest. Then, his skin returned to its original color. It is poison. Quack. He couldn't comprehend it as Mumu made a sound like he was gathering phlegm. The muscles around his neck then bulged. Spit. And the boy spat out purple blood from his mouth. The moment it touched the ground, everything around it began to melt. PSSS. This made Jiang lose all of his rational thoughts. What did he just witness? Did this boy collect the poison within his mouth and spit it out? Huh. The poison he used was so toxic that not even the 4 great warriors could move once under its effects. However, even after spitting out the poison, Mumu looked fine. It tastes bitter. Bitter? Jiang was at a loss for words because of Mumu's actions. Was this child human? And Mumu then said, "Is it my turn now?" What? I will do it lightly. Kwang. At that moment, the ground that Mumu had stepped on rose up. Before anyone could realize it, he appeared right before Jiang. Wait. But before the old man could speak, Mumu hit his shin with his foot. Quack. Crack. Quack. With that attack, the old man's body spun like a windmill. Pong. Chapter 130. Poison Air of the West. Part 5. Papet. Jin Yang, Jiang's daughter-in-law, hurriedly moved toward the dormitories. It was hard to believe, but she trusted Shin Yuijayam's words. For some reason that she didn't know, Shin Yuijayam had told her to ensure that her father-in-law avoided meeting with Mumu. Does the child have a grudge against them? Was that perhaps the reason? If not, how could 2 people who had no relationship fight to that extent? It was then. Kwang. As she arrived at the dormitories, something caught her eye. Oh? A pile of dirt had soared higher than even the trees at the northeastern side of the dormitories near where the training centers were. Her eyes widened at the sight. The only people who could do such a thing were the four great warriors. Father? It had to be him. Jin Hyang bit her lip. It seemed that Shin Eui Jiam's worries had come true. Huh. If two people are fighting there, then that Mumu child must be there. The promise must be kept, but it isn't time yet. Promise? The boy will understand if you say that. Shin Eui Jiam did not tell her what the promise was. However, if Mumu was skilled enough to defeat Shin Eui Jiam, as he said, then her father wouldn't be a tough opponent either. There was no need to fight against a child to only lose his fame. Papak. She rushed towards the spot. As that man's daughter-in-law, she had outstanding skills. Before long, she had reached where the dust and dirt had soared high. When she looked at the scene, she was simply at a loss for words. The sense of intimidation that she felt made her heart pound like crazy. At the center of it was a young man with enormous muscles. But why is he standing still? As she moved a little closer, she could see why. The veins around Mumu's body were starting to turn purple, beginning from the chest. He got hit by that technique. As his daughter-in-law, she immediately recognized what technique Gyeong Jiang had used. Most of her father-in-law's techniques were dangerous and poison-related. This skill would take the top spot for her. Once someone was hit by it, the poison would seep into the body and inevitably kill them unless they were one of the four great warriors. Even for them, they would need to use massive amounts of internal energy to deal with it. Did father win? It looked that way, but her father-in-law's condition wasn't good either. Did he push father to that extent? Jin Hyang bit her lips at this. She couldn't believe this child could push one of the great warriors to such an extent. However, it seemed the poison within him had sealed the fight. Thank God. Since father has won, then I have to tell him about. Clench. The boy's muscles began to wriggle horrifyingly as it repeated the process of contraction and relaxation. How could a human control their muscles to such an extent? What is he doing? She was puzzled, but then something even more shocking happened. Swish. Blood mixed with purple poison was spat out of the boy's mouth. That was the poison. This thoroughly shocked her. What? Did he just spit out the poison that had seeped internally into his chest? As Gyeong Jiang's daughter-in-law, she had high knowledge of poisons, and even she couldn't understand this. Kwang. In the blink of an eye, Mumu had spat out the most extreme of poisons. Pong. The next moment, Gyeong Jiang's body spun like a windmill. Oh? It was hard to tell how many times he was spun. Jin Hyang was shocked again. If someone as great as her father had been kicked into the air to such an extent, how strong was the attack? Mumu then clenched his fist and aimed for the still-spinning Gyeong Jiang. Jin Hyang shouted out in shock. Stop. Enough. Like her, someone else had stepped out. It was her daughter, Seerin. Seerin? Mom. This needs to be stopped, if not Grandpa. It wouldn't just be a serious injury. He could even lose his life. Seerin didn't know Mumu's strength, but this wasn't a fight between people of equal skill. Flinch. Mumu, who was about to release his fist, stopped because of their shouts and looked at them. Jin Hyang then shouted again. My brother, Shin Eui Jiam, wants me to tell you. The promise will be kept, but it isn't time yet. Hearing her words, Mumu unclenched his fist. After all, this man was older than even Shin Eui Jiam, and he had no intention of injuring the man. This last blow was to finish the fight. Mumu reached his hand out to the still-spinning Gyeong Jiang. Pack. And grabbed the man's shoulder to stop him. But... Father. Grandpa. The speed at which he had spun had made it difficult to breathe. The old man found it difficult to withstand the force. His eyes were flipped over as he was stopped. They did not mean for this to happen, but Gyeong Jiang had attacked Mumu first and taken the fight one step ahead. If it weren't for Mumu's control, he would already be dead. Was it a bit too much? Very little, according to me. What? If it was just a little more, grandfather here would have lost his lower body. Siren thought that Mumu's words were absurd. If what he said was true, Mumu didn't even do his best against her grandfather. Gulp. Dying Siren gulped unknowingly. It felt like she had misunderstood by thinking that Mumu's strength was equal to Shini Uijayam. But no. He can already surpass them? How is this possible? Mumu was just 17 years old. It was unprecedented in the history of Murim that someone who barely knew martial arts would be able to surpass the 4 great warriors. No, didn't he already prove it? It wasn't just 1 but 2 great warriors that he had defeated. This was Mumu's true power in Murim. Was it Mumu? At that moment, her mother spoke to them as Mumu nodded. Yes, I am Mumu. Jin Hyang frowned at the innocent answer, which seemed incomparable to the sense of intimidation she had felt just moments ago. What was this child? She asked in confusion. Why did you fight my father? She was curious as Shini Uijayam didn't say anything and decided that asking the boy directly would be better. Mumu scratched his head before looking at Siren to help his answer. I wasn't the one who started it. You didn't? What is that supposed to mean? Mother. I am sorry. Gayong Siren apologized to her mother, which made her wonder even more. Grandpa fought with Mumu because of me. He wanted to test him. Test? This? Jin Hyang nodded as she looked around. Gayong Jiang looked seriously injured, and the surroundings were a mess. This wasn't a test. This was a life-or-death battle. Jin Hyang bit her tongue while looking at Mumu. I am the mother of this child. Ah. Hello. Mumu clasped his hands and bowed to her. It was difficult for her to adjust to this side of the boy. Even now, her senses were still intimidated by the child. Yet his actions seemed so simple. Jin Hyang asked with a frown. Are you dating my child? No. Really? Senior did ask me, but I declined. At Mumu's answer, Jin Hyang shook her head and looked at Siren, who just shrugged. They weren't even dating, so why did that old man test him? As she stood, puzzled, Siren said, I said that I would make Mumu my man, but after he rejected me, Grandpa decided to come here after not liking the response. It then resulted in this. Huh? Jin Hyang was shocked. Was that the only reason all of this happened? Siren liked Mumu, but Mumu rejected her, which was why this old man got angry. This was absurd. That is why he fought. She couldn't understand it, no matter how much she thought about it. I will apologize first. Because of my child and father, you were caught in an unfortunate event. It is fine. Mumu shook his head lightly. He had wanted to meet the old man and even luckily got the fight he wanted. Jin Hyang sighed and then spoke to Mumu. This all happened because of my child and father, so I will take the blame for it. Saying that, it would be nice to have a little mercy since you have such overwhelming strength. As she said her reasoning, she looked at the old man's legs. It looked like he would need crutches for the rest of his life. It was absurd that the wind god had been reduced to such a state just because of his granddaughter's love affair. Mumu scratched his head. I went really gently. His legs have reached a point of nothingness. A man who is one of the 4 great warriors couldn't withstand your attack. Considering that you didn't even use internal. At that moment, Mumu stepped towards Jin Hyang. Pong. Yoop. Ha. The wind blew wildly as both mother and daughter felt their hair being blown around. The air rippled from where Mumu had stepped. Swish. Soon a shattering sound came from above as a hole was formed in the cloud. Mumu then pointed to the sky and said, I was gentle, right? Jin Hyang and Siren were speechless at this. How could someone make a hole in the sky with just one kick? Was he really a human? Jin Hyang was unable to say anything else other than, thank you for being gentle.